What's up, everybody? Chris Gault here, Healthy Living with Chris Gault, and today we're going to talk about things that we must let go of to be happy, and we're going to talk about it right now. Make sure you watch the full video to get the full benefit, because I'm going to go over a lot of tips and they tie together. So make sure you watch the full video to get the benefit, and also make sure you take action, because remember Newton's law that a body at rest stays at rest and a body in motion stays in motion unless a force is acted upon it. Basically what that means is that if you are stagnant in your life or you're going in the wrong direction, then you have to actually take action in your life to make a change, to change that. Keep that in mind. So the first thing that you need to let go of is insecurity. There's just no benefit from it, and unfortunately it's instilled in us since we've been children, because we've been told no at such a very young age, and not to do this and not to do that. And so the problem is that we all end up self-doubting ourselves, and people continue that as we age too, because then you have people tell you what you should be doing in your life. You shouldn't be going out with that person, you shouldn't be taking that job, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. But you have to do what you want to do, and you have to think that these people don't know you as well as you know you, because you know you the best. And so what you have to do is just say to yourself, who are these people to judge me? I'm not going to listen to them, and I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm not going to be insecure about it. So drop insecurity, and you'll be on your way to a happier, healthier life. The next one is excessive pride. Now, pride and self-confidence is good, so don't get me wrong, but excessive pride is not. And one of the reasons why people have pride is because they compare themselves to others, which is another thing that you don't want to do, is you don't want to compare yourselves to others, because all you're going to try to do is be better than them. And that's just pride getting in the way of you living a happy life. And it's, to tell you the truth, it's really gotten worse with social media, because you see people's best lives ever. That's what they put on social media. They're not going to put bad parts of their life. So what you're comparing is your regular day life to like their vacations or their graduations or their parties or their weddings or whatever it is. You're comparing your regular day life to that, because that's all you see when they put it up there. What you don't know is they actually have, most of the time, the same type of life that you have. We all live pretty much the same way. And so once you know that, then you start to stop comparing yourselves to them, and then you start to reduce that excessive pride in trying to be better than anyone. And you just have to really realize that it's just not about me, it's about us as people. So you're better off actually dropping the pride, helping people, and you're going to feel much better. The next one is really big, and I see it a lot because when you are on social media and you have a YouTube channel, you see this a lot, but that is toxic people. And toxic people will always be around, whether it be in person or be behind the scenes like on the social media thing. And you just have to do your best to try to avoid them as much as possible. If they are friends, if they are so toxic, they probably aren't really your friend, and you need to drop them and get somebody who actually is going to help you build, go after your dreams and go after the life that you want to live, and people who actually make you happy instead of bring you down. If it's a relationship, if you're in a bad marriage or boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is, and you just see a lot of negativity coming from that, you got to get out of that now, because it's just not gonna ever work out in the end. And when it comes to family members, it becomes a little tougher, but sometimes you just have to reduce your time with family members, because just being in that environment is not worth it. And maybe sometimes when you are away from them for a while, maybe they come around a little bit and realize that you're not going to hang around with the negativity and you're not going to put up with it. And that's what I would do, is you don't need to put up with this negativity and this toxicity that's out there, and you just have to move forward. So drop the toxic people in your life, and believe me, you will be happier. The next one is the job that you absolutely hate. And I really don't understand this, why people will be in a job that they hate, and they complain about it all the time. They complain about their boss, they hate their job, and they just go in, they clock out, they're not really doing anything productive, they just can't stand it. And I would say if you can't change your job, something about your job, then you need to move on and find another one. And I've always done that. Like, I was kind of lucky when I came in on the scene as an accountant. There was a lot of manual. This is a long time ago. I'm old. There was a lot of manual systems out there, and I did not like doing the manual systems. It just wasn't fun for me. So what I ended up doing is I ended up automating. Every place I went to, I ended up automating and making the systems better, faster, quicker, more reliable. And it was just a lot more fun for me. And so what I did is I changed my job. And what happened? I ended up getting promoted. I kept getting promoted and getting better jobs, and to the point where I finally left the professional career of accounting and finance. I was a senior director. So I did in a big multi-billion-dollar company. So I did move up a lot. And I'm not bragging or anything like that. I'm just saying that because I changed the job to something I loved, and then because I loved it, I put a lot of time into it. I mean, I was probably working 60 hours a week, but I didn't care because I loved what I was doing. And so if you hate your job, you're never going to do well in it because you're just not going to put the time into it. You're not going to put the passion into it. So if you hate your job, you need to drop out of it and find another job. Now, I do recommend before you quit that job, either finding another job first or doing a side gig on the side, like a YouTube channel or something like that, whatever it is you want to do, write a book, whatever, and do that on the side until you get to the point where you can actually start making money on that, and then you can quit your job. So there's just lots of ways to do it. And I would say this, chances are that if you leave the job you hate and you find another job that you love, that you're going to end up being paid more down the road, because if you love that job, you're going to put more time and passion into it, and you're going to be promoted, and you're going to move up, and you're going to be much better off than you were with the other job. And so you might have to take a step back at first to go forward, but that's okay, because first of all, you're going to be happy. Second of all, you're going to love your job, and you're going to end up doing better and making more money because of it, because you're going to be more passionate and more productive. So drop that lousy job and you'll be happy. Drop the idea that your life just can't get better. And I know a lot of young people feel this way, or people who are actually getting to actually I should say, as you sit to age. So when you're 30 or 40, you're thinking, my life is over now, and I'm 60, so I could kind of relate to people who say, okay, when I was young, it was much better and all that. But the reality is I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm in better shape than I was when I was in high school, because I was a skinny little kid. So it's never too late to get into shape. It's never too late to do the things you want to do. I'm traveling the world. I'm doing a lot of things that I didn't do when I was younger. And so I'm actually living a better life than I am now. I'm living a better life now than I was back when I was younger. So it's never too late, and things can always get better. And I'm just saying, just drop that notion. Don't lose hope that you can actually have a better life and that life is over. I mean, that's just not something that you want to do, because it's just not going to have you go anywhere. And if you have, here's a secret to that, is set up some goals, and set up some goals of what you want to accomplish in life. And if that might be, going into a trip somewhere and seeing the world, or going on a long, like 3-month hike or whatever, keep that in mind and go after those goals, and you're going to feel better because you have something to live for. Write that book, write that novel on the side. There's always something that you can do to bring passion to your life back, and you can do that at any age. So drop that idea, you'll be happier. Self-loathing and hating yourself doesn't do anything for you or anyone. And and I would say almost everyone feels this way at one point in their lives. It's just gonna, it's bound to happen that you're gonna have good days and bad days. I'm not saying, I can tell you right now, I have bad days too, and everybody does. But I have more good days than bad days. I can tell you that. Once in a while, if you're feeling bad, okay. But you don't want to be excessive about it. So you don't want to be saying, oh my God, my life sucks and it's terrible. And all that, like I said, it just doesn't do anything for anybody, and especially you. And we are all great at some things, and we're bad at other things. And so for an example, when I was younger, when I was in high school and college, I wrote a lot of songs, I played the guitar, I wanted to be a rock star, but one of the problem is that my voice sucked. I couldn't sing, and my timing was not great. And because of that, my songs just were a little off timing, off beat. So they weren't that great. I mean, I have to admit, they weren't that great. So somewhere along the line, I had to say to myself, okay, I have to move on and do something else. And that's what I did. And I still felt fine. I mean, it was just, I just had to move on from that. So we all are good at something. There's some people who are awesome at the whole music scene, and they're doing great with it. And I feel great for them. I'm happy for them. But for me personally, it just didn't work out. But it's okay, because there's so many other things in the world that I could do. And that's what I did. So find what you are good at and also love to do, because I love putting YouTube videos together. That's why I do so many of them. Stop that self-loathing. It just doesn't help out at all. Drop the notion that you have to stay in your comfort zone. When you do that, you just stop learning. And if you stop learning, you stop growing. You don't want to get to that point. And you don't have to go wild after dreams. I'm not saying that you have to go after one dream. Once you hit it, you have to go after another dream, and you have to hit it, and you have to, and then all you're doing is you're chasing dreams your whole life. What I'm saying is, pick something that you like, go after it, and don't be afraid to fail at it at times, because then eventually you'll be successful. And you can look up Thomas Edison, but he's failed thousands of times at making the light bulb, but he only had to really succeed once to actually do it. And if he didn't do that, we'd all be in the dark, right? So don't be afraid of failure. Get out of your comfort zone, and you will be much better off. The next one I really have trouble with, I have to admit, and I had trouble with this really a lot my whole life, but that is finding imperfections in myself and everyone else, especially when it comes down to this all or nothing mentality that people tend to have. It all has to be 100% good, or it's 100% bad. And it's just not really a great way to go. And I can tell you, in my whole career in finance, and then also when I owned a running store, I probably didn't make a lot of friends with my staff, because I tend to, and even with myself, because I tend to look at what was broken and how to fix it, as opposed to what was fixed and maybe improve that. But I concentrated more on what was broken, and I should have concentrated on what was going well, because the store was very successful. I mean, it did really well, but I always was looking at, okay, how do I make it even better? And that's okay, but I dwelled on the fact that on the negative part more than the positive part. And so that's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying don't fix things that aren't perfect, but admit to yourself that 80% of it is great, and you got to fix it 20%, instead of saying 100% of it is broken. And that's what I kind of mean. And we tend to go into that thing, and it also comes down with people. We tend, a lot of us, I know I do, tend to look at the imperfections in people as opposed to the good in people. We tend to find the differences between what we believe and what they believe, and that's what we concentrate on, as opposed to looking at what we can agree on, and also just honoring that person. And so the more that you can do that in trying to find the positives and the good things in people and in situations, the better you're going to be. So drop that idea that everything has to be perfect, because it's just never going to happen, and you're never going to be happy if you're going to go through life that way. The next one is relying on other people for your happiness. And when I say that, what I'm saying is that you need to be responsible for your own happiness. And there are so many people that are so afraid to even be alone with themselves. Now, I'm an introvert, so I'm okay with being alone with myself, and I have a good time just either writing or doing YouTube or doing whatever. I can do that by myself. I can also hang out with people. I could do both, but I could be happy either way. But there are so many people that are they are at a point in their life where they hate being alone, and they start being unhappy unless they're with someone else, and then they almost rely on those people to take them out and do things with them and whatever in order to have fun. But those people aren't always going to be around, because they have other things to do too, right? They have jobs, or they might have spouses, or they have families, and they might not be able to spend days and hours and hours and hours with you. So you have to get to a point where you are happy by yourself, and that you're responsible for your own happiness. And that even goes with everything. like even the job thing I talked about. If you hate your job, who's responsible for that? It's not your boss, it's not the company, it's you. You've got to take responsibility and either change that job or get out of that job and find a different one. So be responsible for your own happiness. Don't rely on others to make it happy for you. Don't rely on the fact that your boss one day is just going to walk in and give you a huge promotion and a great job and pat you on the back if they haven't been doing that. It's not going to happen. You need to be responsible for that. So make sure you rely on your own happiness and don't rely on others, and you'll be more happy. The last one, and there was actually a book written by this, and I would recommend everyone read the book. And I read the book a long time ago, but it was called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. And I think the subtitle was, and it's all small stuff. And I'm not saying don't sweat big things. The book really basically says don't sweat anything. I don't know if I agree 100% with that, but it definitely has a great point, and that we tend to sweat small, little, tiny things. Like if someone cuts us off by accident in traffic, we almost want to kill the person. In fact, there have been people who've actually hunted people down and killed them because someone might have accidentally cut them off in traffic and didn't even mean it. And so what you need to do is you need to not worry about certain things, like little things like or just someone makes a comment that you might not like. It's just not worth the negative stress that you put on your life to worry about that. And so don't sweat the small stuff. It's just not worth it. And also, I'm going to talk about the things that are out of your control. If something is out of your control and you can't change it, then don't worry about it. You can't control it. So if the government says something like you have to wear masks in a restaurant, then wear the mask in the restaurant. Don't worry about it and just move on. You can't control it. Now, what you can do if you want to is you can go and write a letter to your congressman, and you can do it that way. But don't sit there and complain, argue, and yell and stress about it, because it's just not going to do anyone any good. It's not going to change anything getting all stewed up and mad about it and not actually writing a letter and doing something productive. So if it's out of your control, don't worry about it, don't sweat it, and don't sweat the small stuff. And that's all I had for this video. I want to thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. It really warms my heart when people watch my videos. And if you have any thoughts at all or comments on this video, please put them in the comments below and I'll meet you there soon. All I ask is that they are good, positive comments to lift people up as opposed to tearing them down, because that's what this channel is all about, is lifting people up instead of tearing them down. So please put some comments out there. I would love to hear from you, and I will answer as many as I can. And also, if you like the video, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, and that way YouTube knows to push this video out to others who can benefit from it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that bell notification, and that way you'll be notified every time I put out a healthy living video. And if you know anybody who can use healthy living videos like this, I can barely say it, if you know anyone who can use healthy videos like this, make sure you share this video and the channel with them so they can join in on all the fun. And for more tips on how to live a happier, healthier life, 2 videos are going to pop up any moment, and you can click on any of those videos and you can continue your happy, healthy living journey. And I'll see you all next time.